Hi, everybody. Tommy here from Queers and Soaps. I just wanted to introduce you to some friends of mine who are about to embark on some fun soap opera discussion. So tune in and enjoy, and I will see you soon.
Hello and welcome to Queers and Soaps. Today we're continuing our story of Swan's Crossing, episodes 11 through 15. This is my co-host Karen,
Hi.
and Tommy will roll those credits and we'll get into it. All right, so I was not impressed with this week. I felt like it lost a lot for me. It was very weak. It was all about this baseball game. Um, so we'll start out with episode 11. Party fallout, basically. The cake went all over everybody. The Countess is going crazy. She's upset about her hair. Cake got in her hair. Sophie is angry for some reason. Like she's pissed.
Yeah,
You would
very
think she would
angry.
have you think she would have got off on this. Like she, she was just like, we're getting out of here. This is whatever. It sucks. I'm like, okay, lady, you're crazy for nothing, but whatever. Um, Mila, we think is crying. It looks like she's crying. Glory's consoling her, like, it's all right, whatever. And she's actually like peeing herself laughing because it is a pretty funny situation. Um, Mila confronts Neil and Jimmy because they're the ones that made the cake explode, and she thanks them basically for, I guess, taking the sting out of the air because it was kind of like crazy
Oh, it
and
was it was humiliating.
embarrassing.
It was like a prom, but a prom designed for a 10-year-old. And like of course Mila was humiliated by that. Like nothing was age appropriate. The drinks were
Yeah.
babyish, everything was babyish. So like having the
Hmm.
party destroyed actually really worked in her favor. And
Yeah.
I believe that like the expression Nancy says something like cake won't even stick to her. And I was like, that's pretty good, Nancy, who we know nothing about still.
We know nothing about. She's been on a couple times this week, and we still know nothing about her. Just
Nothing.
that she's
She's a
maybe an
non-character.
asshole. She
She
really
is,
is.
yeah, she's a non-character. And she is
She's my
definitely an
favorite.
asshole. She seems to be there just to um play into Sydney's worst personality traits, but she doesn't
Yeah.
offer anything in the way of friendship. She doesn't do much other than just be a
No.
classic mean girl. She has no parents. She has no backstory. Her introduction was her just walking on screen, and we didn't know her name for 2 episodes.
Yeah, it
So
was weird.
it's weird how they introduce characters sometimes. I
Yeah,
don't
it
know. I don't
is.
know.
Very.
There was a new song though in this episode.
I was just about to get into that. So we get Garrett and Sydney get meet up. They talk a little bit. They dance. I said Bobby speaks Bobby to Callie. I don't know what he's saying. I don't know. Whatever.
I forget. He was, I don't know. I'm so sick of him and his Saja and his, I
I
don't know
don't.
what this is. I hate it.
Yeah, I can't with him. And then he goes, "Let's boogie." I'm like, whatever. So they dance.
Mm.
Um, is it Jazz and Neil dance together? Was
Yes,
that
Jazz.
Jazz?
Yeah,
Okay, that
that's
was Jazz.
Jazz. I feel like there's a lot of inappropriate interactions between people who are way too old to be dancing with these kids seem to be somewhere between 14 and 16 maybe. And like
Yeah,
Jazz looks like she's 25.
Jazz looks like she's 25, and Callie acts like she's 25. Like she acts like in
But
every scene, I feel like she's very flirty and like come
doesn't it
hither type.
make you think though that she's 12? Like it just emphasizes how she's so not an adult because she just looks like a child pretending to be an adult. It's
Yeah,
weird. I'm starting to
it
hate
bothers me.
Callie. Yeah, it
I
bothers
get it.
me.
I get it. It
Yeah.
does bother me. So and then Jimmy and Mila dance together, and Glory and JT get a little dance in.
Finally, yeah.
And this song, I guess it's called "Never Gonna Get Over You" because it repeated 150 fucking times.
Yeah, I mean at least Sandy's singing because she still lacks a storyline. She's just hanging out singing with Owen. And
Hanging out.
I'm not sure what I'm supposed to think about her. Oh, I'm so sad because I'm nice and no one likes niceness. And it's like, Sandy, you don't talk to anyone. You act like a doormat when you do. And if you like Owen, do you like Owen? I don't, because she seems
I don't.
weird. She seems weird about Mila talking to Owen because they got a whole little thing going on. And she seems weird
Yeah,
about it, but not like she's in love with Owen, more like, I guess Owen's her friend and she's jealous. I don't understand Sandy.
and every time Owen looks at Mila, he sees like a goddess. He sees like her. He looks over her. She's just like looking normal, and he sees her as like this big in gold outfit, like glorious woman. So it's very funny.
I mean, it's funny and it's cute, but it's also a little weird that he's like having full on fantasy sequences every time he talks to this very
Well,
normal girl.
well, I guess it's because she is a TV star, so he's probably crushing on that, and he actually likes her. You know, he's
I
crushing
do I
hard on this girl.
I do kind of like their weird interactions a lot.
Yeah, they're weird, but yeah, they're
Yeah,
not as
I do.
cringy as others.
Yeah. I was thinking during this, I'm like, if I ever get the chance to meet Sarah Michelle Gellar, I would like to ask her if she ever got sick of doing that line dance because they are doing it constantly. And it's like a thing. It's like they're at a party, they're and then this song comes on that we're so tired of. And then they do the line dance and they're always teaching everyone the line dance. And it just feels
Yeah,
cultish. So I wonder
it
if
does.
like the actors on this series ever were like, oh, not again.
I
Please.
know, right?
Please.
Well, I mean, the theme song, I guess, was taped separate, so they probably only do it, I guess, once in a while, whenever it plays, which is like every 2 episodes.
Yeah. They are doing that line dance an awful lot. Oh.
Um, all right, so where are we at? We got Garrett. I put Garrett dances to the terrible themes. Sid and Nancy talk shit. Yeah, Sydney confuses me. I guess she's leaning into like Nancy, like that's like her talk shit friend, but she still seems a little bit torn. Like she likes Mila, but I really don't know. The Countess wants to take Mila away. She's like done with this town, even though they've been there for 5 minutes.
And they've been
She's like, this
nothing
was
but nice to
terrible.
Mila. They've been so nice to Mila.
Yeah, they go like above and beyond,
Is she talking
basically.
to Mila's father on the phone or Mila's agent? I wasn't sure.
I maybe agent. I don't think we get a clear thing. That
Okay.
might be a story for like the next week. I don't know. Um, and we hear the song "Everybody Wants to Rule the World." Can you hear that in the background?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
good, a normal song. Thank you, Jesus.
Okay, so on the note of Mila's mother, just a few comments. One, her telephone is a conch shell. That was hilarious. Second, they have the cockatoo in this scene and they have ADR the cockatoo speaking. So that was hilarious. I was crying when I mean, you're doing voiceovers for a bird. That's fun.
Yeah.
You know, it was just
What's
this not much happens in this episode. There's Sajay and the hot dog.
well?
Like,
That's the start. That's the start of the next episode, isn't it? Are we done the other
no,
episode?
it's at the very end of it. Like, because Jimmy crashes his bike at the end of
Oh, right,
episode
right.
11. So right before that is Sajay or, Bobby outside, and he's apparently a vegetarian for this personality that he's
Yeah,
conjured. And Jazz is
they
just
have
like,
him.
yeah, just
He's
eat the damn
staring at
hot
this
dog.
hot dog. He's staring at this hot dog, and then he finally takes the bite.
Yeah.
You're
And
like,
like,
what?
Callie and Jimmy are into like I'm starting to really hate when they interact. But he wants to ride his bike and she's like, "Don't ride your bike because there's still repairs that need to be on it." And he's just like, "Whatever." And he goes crazy riding his bike and crashes. And that I think that's the end of 11.
That's the end of that. And we did have a little bonding moment with Sandy and Callie, and it seems like Callie likes brooding men, is what I made a note of because he seems very broody.
Ugh, I
Um,
don't know.
yeah, I get it. I'm not too into them yet. We do have a fan out there that is into them, so that's nice. Maybe they do something a little bit better down the way.
I'm sure all of them do. Like, we're really early on, and I don't think you know how in a first season of something they don't really know who the characters are yet and they just kind of play
Yeah.
around with them. I feel like that's where we're at with Callie. I feel like
Yeah,
we're at that with Jimmy. They don't
they
know exactly what to do with them yet.
Yeah, they're putting them in a lot of different scenes, like randomly. So yeah,
Hmm.
episode 12 starts with the Countess on the phone,
Yeah.
with Tutu on her shoulder. She's still talking about leaving town. Um, I don't know what my note is here. I can't even read it. To Fiji? I forget what she said, but she wants to go somewhere.
Hmm.
Um, Mila thanks everyone at the party. Sydney seems jealous. She kind of stands away. She always
Hmm.
looks jealous when it comes to Mila and being around Garrett, even though that was part of their plan, but whatever. Um,
Because he is
J-
really nice to Mila in public. And I think Sid is like, why isn't he nice to me? Except that she tells him all the time not to be.
yeah.
How's he supposed to
Jimmy
react
wakes
to that? It's confusing.
Yeah, Jimmy wakes up. Callie senses that he got injured somehow because I guess, she knew about his motorcycle being shitty. Um, she asks Garrett to help find him. They do. Um, what else? Mila talks to Sydney about everybody.
I think this episode's more about how the parents don't like the relationship between Sydney, and
Yeah,
Garrett, because it comes up like the mayor is friends with Mila's mom, but they hate Booth. They hate him. And they have this weird conversation about painting 20 swans, and no one mentioned whether or not they were real swans or not, but they were spray painting them. And it was like day glow paints and stuff. And they're not the only one.
yeah,
The Booth was there too. So like all of these people used to hang out when they were kids.
yeah. We get when that's when the moms meet up, right?
Yeah,
At
the
some
moms meet
point.
up at the pool or something.
Yeah.
There's not a
So
lot in
before
this
that,
episode. It's not.
no, there's not, but we do get to meet Grant full on now. Grant and Garrett, they talk to each other. He's saying you only rely on yourself. They've been there for 6 generations. Um, we find out isn't Professor Van is the one that the two guys created, right?
Yes, yes.
There's a little bit of that in there. The two bald Russian men talk about that. Which, by the way, I looked online and they are like actually named like bald Russian man number one or like bald man number one. So it's
Can
kind of
we
funny.
can we talk about then that the red lighting is supposed to probably like represent Russia, but like they don't have good Russian accents. They seem
Mm-mm.
really strange. And when they're in the room, they have between them like this head model, like a phrenology like
Yeah.
head model, and it like phrenology is like the study of bumps on your head. It's a pseudoscience. So it's like really weird that these two bald guys have a bald head toy in between them for a science that's fake. I'm like, I don't understand this plot line. I'm here to
I don't
entertain it.
either.
I don't get it.
They're on they're on like a minute every episode, and I don't get it either. They're
I
like
don't
I don't know if they're trying to find the location or something. That's what I'm sensing of it,
They
of
want
where
Professor
this
Van.
Professor Van is at. Professor Van is what the character that they created, right? The boys,
Yeah,
Neil
because
and JT.
they know that no scientist is going to take them seriously because they're high school kids. So what they're
Right.
doing is they have this equation they wanted proved. So they sent it out to a bunch of scientists as Professor Van. And now people are like interested in this Professor Van, but he's not a real person.
Yeah.
And it's the
So now
UB2B project. What is that? Tell
who
me what
knows?
that is. What are they doing?
We'll probably never find out.
Is, is this how
Or
YouTube was named? Is this it?
yeah, right. No, I don't think YouTube came till like much later.
Yeah, and I
But
think it was inspired by the UB2B project.
so the mayor and countess meet up at the pool. They bring swan floats, which they laugh about, and I guess they've done. And this is where we find out a little bit of history. Like Grant's been around forever. They all went to like school together somehow.
Mhm.
So I guess basically like they were like the teen scene, 20 years ago or whatever. Um, Jimmy tells Callie, oh, he was gonna tell Callie. I don't even know what they talk about.
I
Like
don't
they don't really.
I have to
Uh,
tell you, I honestly don't care. When they start talking to each
yeah,
other, it's just them sniping at each other and it's just really boring.
yeah. He's just like I don't know.
I actually have
He's like.
Z's on my notes when they started talking to each other. I was so bored with them.
Oh, I have oh yeah, so this is where we get the introduction of a new character, but the door doesn't open until the next episode.
No, Fats is just basically like, "Hey, I'm glad you're here," and then that's it. It was kind of an
I know.
abrupt ending. This is the second
I
abrupt
know.
ending in a row.
Oh, and then we have Garrett was teaching Mila to hold her breath.
Yeah,
And then she
yeah.
holds her breath underwater and she comes up and she's still holding her breath. He's like, "You're still holding your breath?" I'm like, "Where are we going with this?"
It's just so weird. It's so weird because like we have the swim lessons, which is great because she almost drowned, so that makes sense. And then we have the
Yeah,
baseball game, but the baseball game is just like in the background, and then
yeah.
a whole
For-
episode eventually is the baseball game.
Well, it's building. This week kind of builds to this baseball. Everybody's talking about like practicing and all this stuff like throughout the episodes, and then boom, of course, Fridays is going to be like the big game.
Yeah,
Um, which wasn't much of a cliffhanger, which they've been doing okay with cliffhangers until this one. I felt like it wasn't like a
yeah.
main. I mean, I guess it was.
The towers
This
falling was
was,
pretty epic.
I guess, this was a major story because of the main two, Garrett and Sydney. But we'll get to that.
Okay.
So episode 13 opens with Sandy and Owen singing. Yikes!
Oh yeah. Please stop.
He has the memory of him giving the drumstick to Mila, which I forgot to mention in the other episode.
That actually was really cute because he gave her
It
one of
was
his drumsticks and he was like,
yeah.
consider this a rain check. And I'm like, this is 12-year-olds flirting. This is what they do. So it
Yeah,
was
kind
real. It
of,
was
right.
kind of cute. And it kind of put Mila in a position to, I think she likes Owen first because he didn't let her drown, but also because he
Right.
treats her like a girl, not a star. Whereas like Sydney treats her like a frenemy and Garrett is
Yeah.
like super friendly with her, but also flirty, but not like, so he's a little more
Yeah.
confusing, I think. But Owen is just
We
Owen.
we get a little clip of the Russians. We don't know what they're doing.
No.
Then we have a Barrick. His name's Barrick Walker, who's at the door, and he's their ultimate boss over everyone,
Can we
I guess.
talk about how he bought, I think he bought the shop from Fats. So now he's their boss. Can we talk about how this shop is run by child labor? But also that this guy Barrick,
They're getting paid.
but this guy Barrick says that like, oh, no, Callie says that Barrick is an older guy in his 20s. Does Barrick not look
Right.
45 to you? He does
He is.
not look
I
young
looked
at
it up.
all.
Well, I looked it up. He was born in 58, so 60, 70. So he's like mid 30s.
Okay, so when she says he's in his 20s, I was like, no chance in hell. That
No,
there
he's
is a man.
handsome.
He's handsome,
He's
but he's a
handsome,
man.
but
He's a whole
yeah.
ass man. He's not a child. And she's just like, he's in his like early 20s. He's older. And I'm like, too old for you. You're weird.
I looked him up, of course, and he was
Of
in
course.
As the World. He was in as
Oh, your sound's going out. There you are. Okay.
Am I back?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in As the World Turns for like 4 years, and that's about all he did. He did one other soap for like a year, and that was it. And Swan's Crossing. Yeah,
He's a
so that was
he's a
weird.
kind of like cranky and aggressive for no reason. And he used to be a baseball player. So I guess that feeds into the big game on Friday.
Yeah,
I was like, who is this man? And I did feel like he was immediately inappropriate in his interactions with Callie, or maybe she was wildly
yeah,
inappropriate. It was weird to me. It was
it was
flirty.
weird. Yeah, it was weird. I was getting the like cringy too.
Yeah, I
But yeah,
cringed really hard.
not much happened in this episode. I only have like a couple notes really.
I must have looked away. When did Sydney get wet at the pool? What happened?
Garrett splat.
That's it?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay.
And she got mad about it and a little jealous.
Okay. We were talking about how Barrick was kind of inappropriate and
Right. And he says,
flirty with Callie.
yeah, he's like flirty with her, and she's like, "Were you testing me?" I don't even know what they were saying, and he's like, "Yeah, I was testing you." I don't really understand the test. I don't know if it was like, I don't know.
I thought it
Weird.
was going to be like mechanic based. Like I thought like if he was going to test her for anything, it would be on her knowledge of bikes because he's the new boss and he's down a mechanic because Jimmy hurt his shoulder.
Right.
So he's not even meeting half of his staff. His underage staff. But he
Yeah.
like, I don't know, his interactions, like I said, his interactions with her are weird and feel inappropriate because
Very.
he just seems so aggressive. Like, why is he coming into this like aggressive?
Yeah.
It's like an interaction with your employee for the first time and you want them to think you're an ass. I don't
Right.
understand that at all.
And then you did mention Sydney got wet. So Garrett splashed her or whatever, I guess when he was helping Mila. It was an accident. She gets all mad and he's like, "I'm sorry, whatever." And he was like, "Of course I'd rather be with you." So they have like a cute little moment. They talk instead of like enjoying their moments together, they always talk about when they're going to see each other again, which gets on my nerves. That's like a common theme in this. Like,
Right. And they always like, because they're talking and then they're like, okay. And then plan B later on, which I guess means meet at the car.
right.
And it's just like, can't you just like hug, kiss, tell each other you like each other while you see each other so you're less insecure every time you interact with
Right.
anyone else? But
Right.
no.
Take a little walk, maybe, hold hands. When we're going to see each other again? Like, I don't know.
I think they play it like the star-crossed lovers a little too hard, considering neither one of them is actually the nicest person.
Right.
Although they each have these shining moments. Like Garrett can be very sweet one minute and not the next. What happened?
What?
Sorry, I lost the visual.
Yeah.
Hold on one sec.
I see you fine.
Okay, well then keep going because I'll figure out what this is doing.
The boys are worried about the baseball game, and they talked to Barrick about it. So I guess he's kind of just like a male influence that's around. I guess that's what they're going for. I don't really know. That like maybe wants to help them.
But if he's like going to be like an older adult male figure, then why does it seem like he's flirting with young girls?
And Garrett tells Sydney like he doesn't want to use Mila. And then they make this plan on if Garrett wins the game, she's going to go to him and let everybody know about it, even her mother. And I guess, and then if they lose, she just goes home and they don't see each other anymore. I don't really understand.
I think they go back to business as usual because apparently this was accounted for in the plan they wrote up while they were in the car that one day. It's like 0.11, I believe he says it is. And I'm like, if you need an Accords Council to date, maybe it's not supposed to happen.
Not
like
in the cards.
So difficult for these two.
And then we get a little music montage. We see Callie, we see Sydney, we see Garrett, and it's the end. Episode 14. Jimmy's at Swan's. Callie comes in. I don't even know what they said. I heard that I have that Neil listens to November Rain.
Okay, so I can tell you what the music are. The music is, if I could use sentences properly.
Music are.
And the music ours. So the first song is even better than the real thing by U2.
Right.
And then I believe it's November Rain, like you said, by Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses.
And then Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears.
The second time.
And I'm like, what is this sponsored by? Like, this is sponsored by 90s music. Like, there's no real reason for the songs except just to be there, like to just pile songs in there because
I'm cool with it.
No, I like it. I'm not saying I didn't like it. I'm just saying like they've been using their own music for most things, and then it's almost jarring when you have Outside the World of Swan's Crossing music. It's just a little weird, but I enjoyed it actually.
It's not jarring for me. It actually helps me. I'm like, yes, music I know, and not these terrible songs.
This is a boring episode. It was so boring. The buildup we had for this baseball game. And they get to they're at the soda shop for whatever, waiting for the game to start. And everything's happening at the soda shop and not on the baseball field. We don't get to the baseball field till like halfway through.
Right.
And it's like, JT isn't there, but he's supposed to be there because he's starting. Like Garrett is there. He wants to start, but JT is starting. Like Jimmy's at the table with Callie. They have a conversation that doesn't make any sense. Who cares? And like,
I don't have much. Yeah, it was a boring one for me too. We get the bald men are in it again for a minute, talking about Professor Van. So it's literally like the same. They might as well just show the same clip every episode because I feel like it's kind of what's happening.
We did though in episode 14 get the hallucination that Sydney had about the game, right?
Yeah,
Remember? Where she was wearing
yeah.
the hat and she had told and it was a nightmare.
I have Sydney enter. She has a hat that
It's,
spins. Did the hat spin?
it has sunflowers on it. It's crazy. I don't all
Yeah.
of this these last two episodes were just not they were
And
not
then
it.
everybody's like, "This is it." And then I guess I don't know what was it. I was confused. So she sees Garrett and her mom's there. Um, oh, is this the one with the fantasy sequence? This is what's
It's
happening,
a fantasy sequence and I thought it might be because when they have their moment together, everyone applauds.
right?
And like I was like, this isn't real.
Yeah, I knew it, but it did go on a little too long. I was like, I'm like, is it real? Because why would everybody applaud? Because I feel like nobody cares. Um, then they have
No.
like Sydney's mom goes off on her, and then she forgives her like instantly because she's like, well, you said to never, I forget what it was, but never go back on my word. She gave his word to him
I
that if he
know.
wins the game.
I was like, what the hell is happening right now? It's not a
and then
business deal.
and then we have Nancy coming in and kind of snaps her out of it. So then when we get to real world, Garrett gets picked to pitch the game, even though JT wanted to, so JT gets his panties in a knot over it.
Hmm.
Nancy and Sydney start plotting against Mila. I don't really understand what they're doing or want to do against her, but
So
they're doing
Nancy,
something.
what Nancy did to Mila was tell Mila that the team colors were different colors. She told her the team colors
Oh,
were the opposing team's colors.
right,
So she
right, right.
would look like she was not supporting the team,
I
which
didn't
was
think they
a nasty
talked.
thing to do.
They didn't talk about that though, did they? Because we didn't find that
No,
out until the next
she
episode.
she says, don't worry, I got this. I'm
Right,
handling it.
right.
And Sydney's just okay with it. I mean, Nancy could have decided to like murder her and Sid's just like, sure, whatever you're doing, you're doing. It was very weird. I
And
did like
then
when she yelled, Nancy, you ruin everything when she woke her up from her fantasy sequence. That was
yeah,
funny.
yeah, that was funny. Garrett and JT go at it. Obviously, they're always fighting. Jimmy's dripping soda on straw wrappers, which cracked me up, which made
I
them expand.
used to do that all the time.
As he broods in the corner, the Russians come back. They talk about something. I don't know what they're talking about. Um, Sydney talks. So basically ends with um, Sydney's mom telling her she wants her to be like the leader of the what is it? The painting swans, the spray painting swans thing to
No, well, what she
get
wants her
shit
to
back on
be,
track.
yeah, what she wants her to be the leader of is they want to rebuild the concert stage at the pier
Right.
that the mayor says fell down because of Grant Booth.
Yeah.
There is a little fun with the reporters in the next two episodes where they're chasing both the mayor and Grant around and like talking shit about the other one.
Well, we're
And
getting
that
there.
yeah, but it's like it's happening in this and it kind of like slides into the next episode
Right.
where she's like, I'm gonna make a huge announcement and Sydney, you're gonna be a big part of it. She never even asked Sydney if Sydney wanted to be a part of it.
Never asked Sydney or tells her what it even is. So then
No, no.
we enter episode 15 and it's game day. Um, Glory and Sydney discuss her mom's announcement. Like, I don't know what she's going to say. So her mom starts doing the announcement. Grant's watching from the side. So this is where we have the adults a little bit more like getting involved with this story of children. She talks about building the new landmark. Mila comes in. She's wearing the wrong colors, so it works. And then they kind of just play it off. She's like, "Well, you told me to wear these," and they're like, "Ooh." They don't respond really.
No, they don't even respond to that. And at this point, shouldn't Mila realize she's being mean girled?
Yeah, right. So it looks like Sydney's mom's like in the campaign alone. There's no one going against her, and Grant comes out and says his thing. He's running against her. So I guess he was never mayor before. So I guess he just decided to. They didn't run
So
together before, I guess.
a few things we figured out is that one of the big things everybody's mad about is that they apparently live in town hall. Sydney and the mayor, they live in town hall. It's not just a place where they work because the reporter says you'd think you'd be able to finish the construction on town hall. And you know the house is where they are and what's under construction because Sydney says it's hard for me to find anything. You'd think the house would be done being constructed. So like there's this whole through line of like this house is the mayor's house and it's in disrepair, but we don't know why.
Right.
We don't know why. Like we don't know
We
a
don't.
lot. We never know anything.
We don't, and we're
We get
probably not going to find out.
little breadcrumbs of information sometimes.
Yeah. So we get this. Is this the part? I
Oh,
think.
you want to talk about Sajay and the pigeon?
I don't even have that written. I'm done with them. I don't even care. I have that. Oh wait, where are we at? Grant's running against the mom. Sandy sings the Star Spangled Banner. She does a pretty good job.
I must have
Owen
blacked
gives.
out. I must have blacked out. I don't remember that at all.
Owen gives Mila his jacket because
That
I
was
guess
cute.
yeah, it was cute. I wasn't sure if it happened because these weird fantasy things that they're doing, like I couldn't tell. I'm like, did he give her the jacket? And then you see her wearing the jacket later, and you're like, okay, I guess he did. Because
The
the way
other
they made
thing,
the moment look, it looked weird.
oh please, I also thought it was a fantasy sequence. The
Yeah.
film, it was a weird. I mean, he always seems to see her in weird lighting, and I don't know what's happening. But even JT was given a favor, like an old knight. Glory gave him a monogrammed handkerchief that he stuck in his back pocket for the game because that was gonna be good luck for him. And I thought, like, how gallant, like, except like it's just like Glory is just like, he's my knight, and let me give him this handkerchief. And she's so excited that JT is doing great in this game, and JT's just pissed because he's not the one pitching. But he's doing
Yeah.
great in the game. They're all doing great. He gets like to first base, like on his run. I don't know. It was just a baseball game. I was bored.
It was
Like,
weird. I thought it was a funny more than anything, the baseball game. But we do have a moment where Sandy's looking for a spot. There's nobody's moving for her for some reason. Mila's
'cause they
like,
are
I can
mean
move
girling her.
over.
Mean
So
girling the hell out of
Mila's
her.
like the nice girl, even though, I guess we were supposed to think she was going to be a monster bitch since she's a TV star, but she's not. So yeah, JT hits. He doesn't hit till the bottom of the sixth. I don't think anybody was hitting until then. So it was like a really boring baseball game.
Ugh, yeah.
Um, Bobby and Callie. Oh yeah, I do have that. They were talking at some point. Garrett flies out. Bobby hits a home run and gets JT in. So I guess that's where the game ends pretty much. Yeah, Swans
You can
win.
tell by the way we talk about it that we were not enthralled by these
No,
episodes.
this week
Not a
was
lot
really
to talk
boring.
about. Mhm.
No, it was boring to me. I felt like I think this aired in the summer, and this was a great week to go on vacation to miss Swan's Crossing. You did not have to set your VHS player. um, uh, did Owen get hurt? I forget how he got hurt. I guess
Owen
when he
got
slid in, he got
Owen
hurt.
got hurt because for two reasons.
Oh yeah,
One,
he was the catcher, right?
Jimmy threw no Garrett threw him out of the way
Oh, okay.
so he could catch the ball. And then when the guy slid into home, he slammed Owen into the ground. Like he actually kind of slammed all three of them, Owen, Garrett, and JT, into the ground. They
and
all
me and Mila
like,
helps him up.
well,
Yeah,
we'll
I
get
couldn't
into
tell what was
what's happening.
happening because it was so fast, and I honestly didn't want to go back and watch. I'm like, we'll
Listen,
figure it out.
the only reason I noticed is I thought when Garrett pushed Owen out of the way, I was like, is that even legal in baseball? Like, you can't just
No,
push the ump
they're
out of
kids.
the.
Yeah.
I know, but if I don't know, I hate sports, so I'm like the worst.
um.
It's hard to pay attention because everybody
Oh,
was spooning.
so it ended with were they at Swans when? So Garrett holds out his hand for
They're
Sydney to
on the
come
field.
over.
They're
They're
still on
still
the
in the
field.
field, and then the mayor's like, "Sydney, we gotta go," and Sydney's like, because she promised, Garrett that she would go to him after the game if
Yeah,
he won,
but she
and
can't
that
do it in front of her mother.
and that is the finale of this week. So I guess it
Okay.
was a major point for that, but at the same time, I was like, the other two, Fridays were better.
Okay, so look at the way they handled it though, because Sydney was all gung ho about doing it. She wanted to walk. She was scared, but she wanted to do it. She's getting a special outfit. She's getting a hat. She's having anxiety dreams about it. She wants to do it. And the only reason she doesn't do it is because her mom shows up and puts her on that team and tells her that she tries to give the trophy to Garrett. And her mom's like, no, you've already been photographed too much with him.
Yeah.
And now his father has declared war on her mother. Like, it's become way more complicated than Sydney just saying, Garrett and I are dating. Now it's like the families are at war. And I felt bad for Sydney. I was like, just go to him. He has a rose. Will you do it? And I knew she wasn't going to, because she can't. Like, she can't. And like, her mother is not going to handle that. And even if they did, you don't think that Grant would not send Garrett back off to France? Those parents hate each other. They hate each other. So like, I thought that was good. And I really enjoyed the tension of that throughout these couple episodes. Like,
yeah, I like that too. I always like the adults stuff. They're doing good with writing that stuff when they're on.
It was just the way the game was handled was both as the most important event that was ever going to happen and not important at all. Because when they were at the soda shop, right, waiting, and Garrett says, first off, just as a comment, the coach was wearing the most 90s polo I've ever seen. It was like 5 different colors. I laughed. Anyway, so Garrett's like, oh, JT's not here. And the coach is like, JT needs to be here. If he wants to start, we have to start warming up right away. And Garrett's like, well, I'll go find JT. And he's like, oh, that's really great of you to be like that for the team, so you can start. So they get JT. They come back to the soda shop. And then they spend 15 to 20 more minutes hanging out at the soda shop. I thought you were supposed to be warming up for this game.
I know. Yeah.
And it was very confusing on the timeline for that. And then when you get to the game, you're expecting this hot and heavy game where it's like 2-2 the entire time, or 6-5 or something, or they're down 4 runs and they need to like really step it up.
Right.
And instead you get the storyline with Bobby/Sajay, who's chasing a white pigeon around the field and missing every shot, and then having a philosophical discussion about Kelly, about the earth and how things move. And I'm just like, cut this all out. Cut this all out. This character is useless. Get rid of him.
He really is.
I just don't like it. I feel like it's obviously I'm watching it with a modern lens. I feel like his entire character is problematic, and I just don't see the point in him.
And his sister is very mean for absolutely no reason, or maybe she just doesn't like the teen drama. I don't know.
I feel like she literally had something going on with Jimmy, which again was inappropriate, because she looks like she's 22 and Jimmy looks like he's 15.
Right.
So even if Jimmy is 18, and then it almost felt like she brought that older boy to the party, for Mila's party, to make Jimmy jealous, maybe. And then that like kind of went nowhere. And I don't know maybe I can't read it properly because I'm not a teenager in the 90s. Currently, I was. But like, I'm not. And I feel like I'm missing context that maybe a teen then would have picked up on or not cared about. I'm not really sure.
Did you rethink about making your Swans Crossing t-shirt?
I did.
You're like, I like the first 2 weeks, and then I made this shirt, and then this shitty week happened, but maybe it'll pick up next week, you know.
I came in here being like Team Sydney, and I got my red hairband, I got my Swans Crossing shirt. I had to design it myself because it doesn't exist. And then I have these episodes, and I'm just like, what is happening to all of the momentum we had in week 2? Now, week 1 was confusing and weird and like an acid trip. And then week 2 had the same kind of like crazy, I don't know, bounce back and forth between reality. But we had a lot of like the moments with Garrett and Sydney in the car really made me go, this show has a lot of potential. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
And then this week I was like, what the hell is happening? I'm back to being like, and the last 2 episodes, flat out, I was bored. Like during the baseball game, I had to keep going. Write more notes so you pay attention, because it was just a baseball game. There was no tension in the game. There was like nothing.
There wasn't. And but I felt like it did move a little quick, because I was happy with that, because I'm like, you know, it needed to move fast.
I felt like the Bobby storyline should have been cut. It took up too much time and didn't add anything to the episode.
No, it added nothing.
I would have rather seen more reactions from Sandy. I'm still confused as to whether she likes Owen, but she did seem pissed off that Owen gave Mila his jacket to wear.
Right.
I still haven't figured that out. The conversation between Jimmy and Barrick was just like, so what? Like, what was that? I think he was saying like, hey, I thought I only had one chance, so I blew it. And
Right.
you might have more chances in the future, so don't blow it. But that's not what he said. But I'm hoping that's what Jimmy got out of the conversation. And then I was just like, why is Jimmy's boss at the baseball game?
Yeah,
Why is he there? What is this random adult man doing at this child's baseball game? And is this baseball team the town's baseball team or the high school's baseball team? Because they're not in school right now. It's summer.
Right.
I don't.
So we have a lot of feelings that I hope we get worked out next week. We have a lot of big feelings. We're hoping that we're not as bored next week, because I felt like this was a really boring week. I think I fell asleep during episode 12.
It can't be good all the time. It can't be.
Yeah,
good all the
it
time.
can't. So we're gonna continue on our journey, our Swans Crossing journey. I mean, she made that T-shirt for something.
Yeah.
And so we'll bring you more next week. So we'll wrap this up. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great day, and subscribe, like, and comment on everything that we're doing. We have putting a lot of stuff out there for you. And we're going to be doing a lot more in the future. Me and Karen have other things in the works that we're working on as well. So let's go. Have a good one.